when I look at this photo, I think of something that's out of a movie, out of like some sort of science fiction movie. Like this is an alien pod that's going to explode and take over the world or something. This doesn't look, I wouldn't say it doesn't look natural. It just looks weird. What is this thing? And what, like the colors and the yellows and purples, like it doesn't seem natural, but it actually is. This is the budding, I think it's the flower of a black cotton plant. I've actually taken 1 or 2 pictures of this plant at previous times, like over the years, and the colors on this thing are so cool. It's, if you see one of these black cotton plants, I don't even know why it's called black cotton. I don't think it produces cotton at all. Maybe it does, but I don't think so. Anyway, the leaves are this like rich, dark purple, and the flowers on them just get these, the colors on this thing are just like so rich. It's unlike a lot of other plants I've seen. Maybe I just need to get out more. So I was walking around campus at Oklahoma State University with my macro lens, my D750, and I saw this thing here, which this is small. This is like maybe a 1/2 inch. This little yellow bud from like the front to the back of it. It's not big at all. And I thought this is going to be a cool photo. Like I'm pretty sure I can capture this in a way that looks interesting. But I didn't quite know how to make what was in my mind show up on the frame here. And I think what ended up being the key to this whole operation was the right-hand side. You see those little glowy, blurred parts of the photo, the background blur. It was those things that ended up making the difference for me. Like, so what angle do you shoot this from? Do you shoot it from head on? Do you shoot it from the side? Do you shoot it from top or from bottom? How do you compose this shot? And I don't know that this is the best way that, like what you see here, but what I wanted to do, or what I realized I wanted to do, was have this thing, this like budding flower in focus, and that's the frame, that's the focal point of the shot, but have something else in frame that was kind of interesting too. And that ended up being those blurry things on the right-hand side. You see those little tendrils, those purple tendrils with those little yellow tips on them that are kind of wrapped around this flower bud. That's what those things are on the right-hand side, except they're nice and blurred out. And it all came together to form this complete picture where you have like a subject and there's a bit of stuff in the foreground. The subject is interesting. There's a decent amount of contrast between the subject and the rest of the image, despite everything having like this yellow purple tone. But then you also had something a little interesting going on in the background too. So it all came together to form this cool macro shot. I had to shoot with a pretty small aperture, and I actually used manual focus on this, which is not what I normally do. I don't have a great manual focus camera. It's a DSLR. My only mirrorless camera is my Fuji X100F, and that's not really great for macro. So to focus manually, you have to look through the viewfinder or live view, but live view couldn't keep up in this case, and focus back and forth and really hope that you kind of nail it, unless you're really good at discerning these micro levels of focus from that optical viewfinder. So I used a smaller aperture to give myself a little bit of leeway with working with focus. And there was a little bit of breeze, so this thing was moving back and forth. And I just grabbed the lens barrel and rotated it back and forth and kept on taking shots until I got one that was just right. It was in focus. The background was where I wanted. Everything lined up to make this a really cool, really interesting shot.